Hi, so it's 2018 and a company called Basic Fun has released reproductions of some of the original My Little Pony figures from 1983. Now this is really exciting for myself and a lot of my friends, a lot of other people in that same age group, because we remember playing with these toys when we were younger, when we were kids. Like, these are the ponies that we played with. I have friends who see the reproductions and they're like, I had that pony when I was a kid. For example, Windy, the unicorn, was one that I specifically remember playing with when I was younger. Now this is one that I got on eBay a few months ago when I was really excited for the release of the upcoming Rainbow Ponies wave, as they call it. I didn't want to wait for the reproductions to come out, clearly, and I wanted an original vintage one from my youth. But I do remember playing with Windy the unicorn when I was younger. Naturally, of course, the reproductions were released, and I also got the Windy reproduction. So I've got the vintage one from the 80s and 2018 that I bought a couple of weeks ago at Target. Now, because I'm a nerd and I like ponies and toy design and all kinds of things, I started noticing the ways that they are a little bit different. They're definitely both Windy the unicorn, but there are a few small differences. So I want to take a look at that, and hopefully you're a nerd about these things the way I am, and you want to look too. So let's have a look. So one of the first things that's easy to notice is the coloring. The vintage unicorn here on the right is paler. When I was younger, I seem to remember her being white. I don't know if that's just like my memory or if some of them were white, but in real life, this one's actually a pale lavender. Not sure how well it shows up. But she's a pale lavender in her body, where the reproduction is definitely a deeper lilac color. Definitely looks more violet when you look at her. The coloring overall is bolder and deeper, more saturated in the reproduction. You can see the mane and tail use basically the same colors. They've got the same color assortment. It's like magenta. There's a little bit of orange in there. Yellow, green, and blue. And as you can see, the older one is a little bit more pastel-y. It's a little bit softer colors, where the reproduction has bolder, more saturated colors. The reproduction, you can see, also has, I'm going to set vintage pony down. She has this forelock here that's already pre-trimmed. I mean, she comes like that. So she comes with a little forelock trimmed into her hair for some little dramatic, dramatic hairstyling, where the original vintage pony, her mane is all basically the same length. So that's a couple of differences. Also, the cutie marks are, again, it's the same pony. I'm swapping these around because I thought that would be easier. Let's do it this way. So the cutie marks are definitely the same, generally. It's the same style, the same symbols. You can see, of course, again, the coloring on the reproduction is a little bit bolder. It's a little bit, definitely more of a violet, where the reproduction is a little bit more of a gray violet. It looks silvery on the video, I think, but it is more of like a gray violet in real life. That kind of goes with her body color. Also, the reproduction, you can see some of the shapes of some of the elements of the cutie mark are a little bit different. Again, it's basically, it's the same cutie mark. You can see how they're the same pony, they're the same cutie mark. It's recognizable as Windy the unicorn, but you can see there's slight differences. Spacing, some of the shapes are a little bit different, but, again, small differences. Another thing I was noticing looking at their faces is I feel like the vintage unicorn here now on my left, I feel like her ears are a little bit sharper and more pointy compared to the reproduction here on my right. And looking at the horns, I feel like there's a similar difference in the sharpness and softness. I feel like the vintage pony, the grooves in the horn are sharper and clearer. The reproduction is a little bit softer. For whatever it's worth, I don't know, I'm not sure, there's probably some technical reason for that. I'm looking now, and the nostrils, even on the reproduction, look a little bit softer. Her muzzle's a little bit less defined than in the vintage pony. So while we're looking at the faces, let's look at the eyes. The printing on both of these is pretty good. I noticed on my first wave ponies, which I don't have handy right now, but in the first wave, I think Snuzzle, Bluebell, and Blossom are the ones that I got. I noticed some of the screen printing on the printing on the eyes on the reproductions was a little bit wonky, not quite centered. These look pretty good. The vintage ponies, you know, of course, the eyes, you know, they are the great, wonderful eyes we remember from our youths. You can notice